Hello everyone, this is Charlie Barley out there with another YouTube video. This YouTube video is going to be a little different. I am doing a roundtable discussion with three of my top students, and I have a lot of good information I'm going to share. This video is we're not going to be talking about how much money you can make and all the life-changing things you can do. The students, they'll tell you that's I think at this point that's kind of a given if you know what we know and doing what we're doing. What I want to talk about is the things that makes them great. On the phone, I have three of my greats, the top three. I have Estelio, I have Sam. Of course, you guys heard from Sam. You've also heard from Sean, but I got three of them all on the phone call, and I want you all, we're just going to have a roundtable discussion. Particularly with Estelio, because Estelio is the newest in terms of YouTube, but he's my newest. I don't think we've done it. We did an interview. Remember the interview we did? Estelio, let me give you guys a little bit of background. So Estelio is practically the top student. And I say that because he's doing some incredible stuff right now. And I'm going to let him talk. But when I met him, this is how I met him. He was driving. And correct me if I'm wrong, Estelio, you were driving from Florida, right? Or was it Florida?
Mm-hmm. Yep, from Florida.
He was driving from Florida. Listen at this, guys. And he was driving from Florida, and he drove from Florida to L.A. You're in L.A. now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Not going to give you your exact location. But he drove from Florida to L.A., and he stopped through Las Vegas, which is where I'm at. And we met, and he joined the mentorship program. And I remember him saying to me that I'm going to be your best student. I'm going to do exactly everything that you say do. And so he kept saying that, and you guys know, Sam and Sean, you know, we've talked quite enough, and you know how I feel about when people say that to me. I always think I say, okay, yeah, right. Because most people don't, everyone says good things, but most people don't walk it out. You three have. But back to Estelio. So when he came here and he said those things, I gave him, he took this information and he studied it. And I would tell you, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, you were all over the place. In terms of, everybody on the phone? You guys are quiet as hell over here.
Yeah. We're listening.
Okay. Well, he was all over the place, and meaning in terms of how he was going about it. He was all over the place. And then all of a sudden, it kicked in. And next thing you know, this dude is practically undefeated. I mean, you have way over 300 units under your belt. I don't think it's been 2 months yet, or maybe it has been right about 2 months. But you're at 300 units, maybe total losses in terms of, I don't even know if we consider losses anymore. But if you want to consider them a loss, maybe 4 or 5. But tell us about your journey from Florida to now, and then we're going to start talking to the other guys about best practices and stuff like that. But I want to get your take because, like I said, you just were one of the huge standouts, and you came here with nothing. You didn't even have much money. You didn't have anything. You remind me quite a bit of myself. You started with nothing, and I was like, you know what? You just got that fire. I see you want to learn. I see you're diligent. And like I said, you are doing, if we were to compare history in terms of consistent wins, I don't know. I'd be hard pressed to say there's no one, maybe even in, it's kind of crazy to say this, but I don't know of anybody in the world who's producing results that we are collectively producing, but certainly that you're producing. Tell us about your entire journey over the last 2 months.
Man, I think we were talking the other day, and it's only actually been a little bit over 1 month. But it seems like we known each other. I can't remember not knowing you, man. It was just a real good connection from the beginning, and I think a lot of it came from the similar history that we had. Like when I was in Florida, I was actually just coming off of actually even living in my car for about 6 months, just trying to make things work. And I had just kind of looked around and I stumbled. Actually, coincidentally, I was in Florida and my folks are retired out there, and they invited me to a casino out there, and it was really similar to your story, man. I went over there and I saw people, the way people were gambling, and I was just like, man. But all these things I was looking up online, I was like, yo, slot machines and all this. I was like, everyone's just playing the lottery on a daily basis. But it's like they expect to win all the time, and I walked by this roulette thing, and I was just like, man, every single possibility is right in front of you.
Mm.
Like, they can't hide it. And people were still, there was some winners and losers, but I was looking at it and I was just like, man, there's got to be something to this. And so I started looking online, and I actually, did some experimenting on my own. I started, trying to track spins and doing all that stuff. And I just realized, I was like, man, there's so many possibilities here, even though there's limited variables. And I had some success, but then I stumbled across your videos, and just a story. I was like, I just found somebody who's going to save me about a decade of my life. And I was like, this guy is doing exactly what I'm trying to do, but he's already done it. And I was just like, I gotta call this guy. I gotta get the information. And I wasn't even expecting it. I wasn't expecting a real number, man. I was expecting a voicemail, and maybe I'll get start getting a bunch of spam emails or whatever. But I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. And he picked up the phone. Like, it was directly to you, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, I almost wasn't even ready for the conversation. But I was just like, look, you don't know me, and I know this sounds weird. I don't have any money, but, I know, I'm. If you give me the benefit of the doubt this time, I come from. I've always been a hard worker, man. I busted my ass. I don't think I've ever had a job where I worked less than 60 hours a week, and that's from even before you legally even able to work. And always doing what I'm supposed to do, and helping other people out. And I know you were talking about that where you were overstretching yourself. And ironically, overextending myself to other people as well was kind of keeping me in a hole all the time. And then I turned around and I was just like, I got to start doing some stuff for myself. And this was the first thing I saw, and I was like, this is it. It was like a Michael Jackson moment. I was like, this is it. We got to go on tour. We got to make it happen. And I told you this, man, maybe 1,000 times this over the past month, man. I'm just so thankful that you gave me that benefit of doubt. And I came into it like, look, he's probably not going to give it to you, but if he does, you cannot be the weak link. I don't care if you got to glue your face to a computer screen until Rain Man absorbs into your soul.
Yeah.
You got to get this. And but I think just more than anything, man, it was just the fact that you gave me the benefit of the doubt with your big heart. Like, we have very similar hearts, and we really want to help people, but people just haven't come through for us. And so I knew where you were coming from, and I think I was giving you every reason not to trust me. I was like, yeah, look, man, I know this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. That's where my mind would be at, but, I'm not going to do that. And you were like, I could kind of hear that. You were like, yeah, okay, we'll see. And I was like, nah, you gonna see. I'm going to be right up in your face with it. I'm going to be calling you every day. I'm going to be texting you every day. And
right.
and then on my way to California, I was like, man, I'm going to call this dude and see if, I want to go live and live in color, man. I had all this data on my phone. And I was like, nah, I can't just tell this dude. I'm going to show this dude in person. And then you were just like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Come on through. And I was like, yo, this dude's opening his door to me. He doesn't know me from Adam. And he's already giving me all this benefit of doubt. And now this dude's willing to, open his doors to me. And we had a real deep conversation that day when we met. And it was like talking to somebody I grew up with, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I think even the video went a little bit too deep. That's why nobody's seen it yet.
Right. Yeah. So
it really was, man. We were sitting on top of the strip. I was like, nah, you rented this for the day or something. But nah, it it was crazy, and I was just like, you know what? I'm in the right place. I'm with I'm with somebody who understands the way my mind works,
Yeah.
because our mind works very similarly. And I mean, you almost tortured me a little bit. You're like, man, you know what? You're right on the verge of something, but I don't want to tell you because I want you to figure it out yourself. And for like the next 2 weeks, I was like, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Mm-hmm.
And you were just like, man, you're right there. Usually, just keep showing me your results. Just keep showing me. And then, I had some extenuating circumstances outside with the transition to LA, and just like,
Right.
getting to a point where I was overworking myself. And it was just, and when you talk about the game teaching you about yourself and about life,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's done more of that for me. Even like I haven't even really focused on the money side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the lessons that I've learned from it about myself, because it is just you and the game. Like, it takes away all excuses.
Ooh, stay
And so
right
it's
there.
like I'm sitting. Yeah.
Estelia, stay right there. I want to bring in, because you bring about that. I want you to keep that, because I want to talk about how the game has changed you, and I want to bring in Sean at this point, because it's been a minute since we've talked to Sean. And but keep that thought, Elliot, because I'm coming back to you. I want you to talk about how the game has changed you. But the reason I wanted to bring Sean in is because he also was, well, all of you guys on the phone, you all have the same story. And you, of course, in your case, you were homeless. And well, I ain't gonna say homeless, but you were in transition. And when I saw that heart of yours, and I was like you said, I was like, okay, well, we'll see. And 2 weeks, I didn't tell you a lot. I just looked at your stuff and I saw where you were going, and I wanted you to study. The same thing I did with Sean. And Sean, I think Sean was like one of my first most consistent students. So I want to talk really quickly about how is the game and what you're doing in terms of consistency and some of your best practices. How has that changed your life, and how do you see it? How do you see it affecting other areas of your life? Sean, I want to bring you in real quick. So what do you think about what Estelio was talking about in terms of how the consistency of what you're doing, is it making a change in your life, or is there any changes, or what is it that you're seeing as a result of this process?
Well, a little bit on my background, I came from like the trading aspect and the currency market, and I have always tried to be as consistent as possible when it came to trading. Once I hooked up with you, I think my first month live, I made like 50% of the account, which I've never seen in my trading history. I've never really seen anybody with any of their trading records do that form of like a profit margin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just it's solidified the fact that being consistent and being patient really paid off and does pay off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen plenty of stuff in plenty of like roulette systems here and there, the $99 systems. It's gonna make you whatever. And when I met up with you, you've been on YouTube now for years. I said, you know what? I have to take this opportunity. If I don't, and I pass it up, I'll never know.
Yeah.
So it was a risk, but you're going to take these risks anyway. Whether it's going to work for 60 hours, 70-hour work weeks, or sitting on your computer, or going to a roulette table live, you're going to take risks regardless. And I think that doing this has shown me that these risks can be controlled most of the time. In this way, we can control it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's definitely opened my eyes to the whole trading thing was the wrong way for me. This is 100 times safer, 100 times better. And it really solidified the fact that this is the way to go.
Amen, brother. Let me bring in Sam. Sam, strategy is important, right? Like we have strategies that we use to be successful. Obviously, Estilio, you just, and every day, by the way, these students of mine are every day they send me their practices, they send me their results every day. And this is the reason why they're way, like, you guys are so beyond that it's almost impossible for you to lose at this. When I say impossible, you guys are way out in the ocean. Like you'd have to lose 300 or something straight times for you to be done. And but Sam, I want you to talk. What are some factors that beyond the strategy that if you don't implement them, it will cause you to be a loser? Because since you've started, you are 100% a winner, and we're going on the 30-day mark or so with you, I think, or maybe are we? I don't know. Maybe we're better than that. But what are some of the things or factors that that if you don't implement them inside beyond the strategy, if you don't do these things, you can wind up being a loser, even though you have great strategy?
The strategy is 100%. It works. What's going to hurt you is one of the biggest factors is discipline. If you don't have the discipline to follow the strategy, you see something else going on, and you just feel like you have a gut feeling it's going to do this or that, and you start betting that, and up in your bets, you're going to lose. You may win a time or two, but in the long run, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose a lot whenever you do. So discipline, just to follow the system, the discipline is a huge factor, huge factor. Beyond that, patience. Patience. I'm not as good as reading the chaotic part as Stilio is, and I'm still real careful about what I play with that and being patient through it. Sometimes just waiting through it until I see something different. The patience has been a big factor with me. If I didn't have the patience, there's a lot of times I would have lost during a chaotic game. There's no question.
Let me ask you this.
Discipline and patience is the two biggest ones.
Let me ask you this question, and I'm about to come back to you, Estilio. If you have a lack of patience or discipline, is there anything that you can do to develop more patience, or is that just something you just either have it or you don't have it? What do you think about that? And that's for anybody.
It's hard to say, man. I mean, of course, patience is developed and discipline can be developed, but it's going to come from losses. It's going to cost you money. To develop that, it's going to cost you money. That's how I see it. It's going to cost you some bankroll.
Yeah, that's actually an amazing point right there. I think, and I talked to you about this, Charlie, a couple of times. Is like you have to really. I mean, you can hop into any roulette room and if you just watch the way people react to the game, like they take it so personally. I think that's a big thing too. Is that and in life as well, when things go quote unquote wrong, you have to have accountability. You have to be like, what did I do to contribute to this? And you have to be able to be honest with yourself. Like, did I do everything I could to make the best decision and be okay with being wrong? I think everyone's like, oh, there's no way that couldn't have happened. It's like, well, there's 36 factors on the board. So yes, there's always a chance that can happen. And in that, it's almost like putting all your eggs in one basket, but you see people, putting their eggs in the smallest basket, and then being mad when they're wrong about it. I think when we were doing the practice, I was like, dude, I'm trying to be wrong, and it's not happening. And that was frustrating me, because I was like, I can't get better if I'm just winning all the time. Because I know there's, it's a pretty high percentage win, but it's one of those things where, again, the ego comes into play. It's like, can I be okay with being wrong? And I almost adopted the mentality of I'm playing to lose. Yeah, everyone's playing to win, and then when they lose, it's like, oh, I got to get it back. I got to get back where I was. I got to be ahead, whatever. But when they're ahead, they never walk away.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, well, I'll never be wrong. It's like, no, you have to be like, hey, cool, I'm right now. Everything's working out. Let's ride this out. You know, like how many people will, you look at like school, they'll take a major in college and spend all this money and then switch majors at the last minute. It's like, oh, I knew I didn't want to do that before or whatever. It costs you like tens of thousands of dollars. You're going to spend $40 or 40 years paying back. When you could have just, like Goodwill Hunting, you could have went down to the library for $1.50 in late fees and changed your mind all you wanted.
Right.
And I think that's what I learned in this is, and like you said, I was jumping around a lot at the beginning. I was like, yo, let's go flat. Let's go, like, what? Why is this better? Oh, you know what? This does save time. But then it's just like, with me personally, I'm working, like I said, even now, I'm not counting anything. It's like, I treat it as, even though I have the wins and everything, I'm like, that's not mine. Like, I still have to deal in the real world right now. Can't be completely matrix. So like and like, I mean, this. There's been nights where I'm working so much that I still sleep in my car, just because I'm like, I don't have the time to get home, and I'm trying to still get my time in on the phone, doing my spreadsheets and like looking at it and doing my due diligence. And it's hard to not get that last week of school feeling, like, for lack of a better term, you get a lot of fuck it in your system. Of like, man, I got the key right now, so why not just go all in and put all my eggs in this? And it's like, yo, I've learned from dealing with people and just with life, like, if you relax before you're far enough ahead in the game, there's always a chance for the other team to come back. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep at least one of your starters on the floor at all times.
Amen.
And so, I mean, and that's what this game is. It's like, if any other things was like, you can go in 5 minutes, do the one day, 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're done. And my hesitance with the team play, like when you had me start training out, I was like, man, I don't want to be exposed that long. I don't want to be in front of the game that long. Which is funny because, I've talked to people, that I tried to having you talk to them, and they just wanted to be involved. They're like, I want to play. I'm like, it's not about playing. Mm-hmm. It's about not playing as much as possible.
Right. It's a really stark, right. It's a really stark thing now, what's crazy about what you just said, okay, because right now you're averaging, like we said, between at least 10 to 20 an hour, right? Units, by the way, guys. Okay, and soon we're going to talk about how you guys can benefit from that too if you want to. But it's funny that you say the key to playing is by not playing, while at the same time you are able to pull off that many consistent units over a span of days. How do you juxtapose what you've just said? Like, meaning, because I get what it's a Jedi mind trick is what I'm throwing at you.
Right, yeah.
Because it's such an ironic thing where you say it's the key to winning is by not playing. It kind of reminds me of Bruce Lee. There was a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase this, where he talked about it's better for a person to be, and I'm really about to screw this up. It's better for a person to be prepared for war or something along that line than to not. I am totally screwing that up. But my whole point is this. I am. I know. And I think you probably know where I'm trying to go with that. But my whole point is this, is that it's less is more. And when you do, it seems like the less you do, the more you're getting. Because you're not, now the only thing you're doing to achieve what you're achieving, you're just, without saying too much, you're just replicating the process in different areas. You've taken the knowledge, and instead of doing more with it, increasing the time, you're doing more within that said time, which is why your account's growing. Am I right or wrong about that?
Yeah, I mean, it really came like that aha moment was, I'm trying to basically, I think everyone is coming from a mindset of I'm going to make the game do what I want it to do versus I'm just gonna let the game be who it is and appreciate it.
Right.
You know, like how many
Yeah.
times you go into a room and they're like, there's people cussing out the deal. It's like, oh, it's been red 15 times. What the fuck? It's like, well, why didn't you play red?
Common sense.
Like, you're so angry right now.
Yeah.
You're so angry right now. And, you know, I'd be in the room, and when we were doing this session, I was cracking up with you. I was like, dude, this guy's here every day. I literally see this guy every day. And he's like, you know, this game and magnets and all this other crap. And he's like, yeah, no one can win this game. I'm like, dude, in the time that you've been complaining, I'm up 40 units.
Mm-hmm.
In the same time span that you're playing the same game. But you're so busy focused on what it's not doing rather than just looking at what is it doing.
Right.
It's like I'm going to go up to a Girl Scout and be like, why aren't you selling lemonade? Where's the lemonade? She's like, I got Thin Mints right here. And I'm like, is this what you want?
Right.
But,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's like, you know, if you know what you're looking for, you know, no one goes to a restaurant and asks the chef to, like, cook what they make at home. It's like you go there for what they do at that.
Right.
So you go to Roulette, you know what the options are, and it shows you, hey, this is what we're serving right now.
Yeah. And
Do you want it or do you not?
or do you not? And then you adjust according to what it is that you're seeing, and not, well, like you said, not what you want it to be, but exactly what it is. And sometimes it's unclear at the moment, but that's fine. That's called stagnation. It's okay to be stagnant. A lot of people, like you mentioned, they just are afraid to lose, as if they're not playing a game. If you play a game of dominoes, basketball, football, baseball, whatever the game is, you've got to expect the other opposition to do something, because otherwise, if they don't, it's not even a game, right? So what people kind of get off is when they feel like they're being dominated, the domination is really not the game. It's kind of what, going back to Sam, because Sam talks about this a lot. It's you. Sam, a couple of interviews you've given, and we've talked a few times, Sam, about how we are our biggest, and you kind of mentioned that about the discipline and the discipline and the patience that we lack that causes us to be our own worst enemies. Can you talk a little bit about, because one of the things I like about you, Sam, is your ability, your patience level is, I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be great, but your patience level is so where you can't help but to win. You remind me of when I used to give an analogy about the poker player, where you have a poker player who would sit at the table for 8 hours to make that one bet that takes him over the top. Now, in what we're doing, obviously, you never have to wait that long. But can you talk to us about a little bit more about patience? Because, like you mentioned, you haven't really connected on the chaotic side. But at the end of the day, you're making money, so it's not really how you do it. You're doing it. It's just that you haven't done it from a perspective of adjusting to the chaos, but you've done it from a perspective of patience. A lot of people are on the side of patience, and we do have students that want to be patient. Talk to them about the moments where you do not understand where the game is, how important it is for you to have patience, and what does patience do for you?
Well, the main thing with patience is it goes back to the system that you know it's going to work. The timing just has to be right. And, you know, I mean, I'm at 29 days and 0 losses. None. I refuse to get up from a table with a loss, period. But I have sat at tables for day, or not actually be on the table, but maybe I'm just sitting over, you know, leaned on a machine somewhere or something like that, tracking a couple of tables maybe. Maybe it's one table running, maybe 2, maybe 4. I may be tracking them all, and there's times where I've sat and tracked numbers on a Baccarat card for over 2 hours before I even bought into a table to play. I waited till I seen what I wanted to see before I even got on, and I've actually sat and tracked numbers for over 2 hours before I done that. So if you're going to play patience, big patience is key. It's not a little bit of patience. It's going to be big patience. You're going to wait. you're going to wait. But as far as being down units, I was looking back through some of my records, and I think it's been 16 or 17 days. And I have seen being 1 unit down, but it's been 16 or 17 sessions since I've seen more than 1 unit down. Everything else has been in the positive. Most of the time, the first play I make makes a win. If I was only getting 1 unit, I could make my win right there in 1 spin and go home. 30 seconds, be done. Now, I might have tracked that table an hour, before I got in and decided where I wanted to bet. But most of the 90% of the time, it's the first spin. Wins that first unit. And, we're trying to get to the point where 1 unit's everything. I want 1 a day. That's what you teach. 1 is everything. And it's correct. And 90% of the time, the first spin gets my 1. If not, the third spin gets my 1.
The reason why I teach the 1 is everything, because it's such a psychological thing. And I'm about to come back to you, Sean, because I got a question we're going to talk about progressions versus flat bet with you, Sean, so get ready. But one of the reasons why I have to get people on training wheels is to protect you from yourself. And because this goes back to your point of discipline. And most people lack it. Most people don't have it, which is why I have just 3 students who are as consistent, because a lot of folks don't have it, and sometimes they just don't have time. But I look at it like this, like you said, Sam, if you're up 129 days, almost 2, are you over 200 units? Did you say?
182.
182 in just under 30 days. You're going to be able to do this for the rest of your life. This is not a fluke, right?
Absolutely.
And the only thing you have to do is just continue to increase your minimums, and you will be a millionaire with this just in time, because you got the thing down. It's just that, like you said, once you learn the strategy, you have to become disciplined. When you learn the strategy first, number 1, and take the time to practice it, right? So that's going to be, golden nugget number 1. Number 2, be okay with winning a little and growing, because as you grow, you'll get to in a place where, how Stilio is doing, you can do a whole lot with it, but that whole lot comes with a whole lot of practice. Or you could take the Sam approach, where you're going to make the money you're going to make. Sam's just going to be patient with it, which is patience is, as Estilio said, the key to winning is not playing much. That's what Sam does. He plays it on that side. Estilio plays it on the side of adjusting to the chaos. Either way it goes, the same money is in the same pot. I want to talk to Sean, because Sean, you started with progressions. Remember, we were doing a 1, 2, 3 progressions systems. I had got you started on that, and then you switched to flat bet. And a lot of people say you were dead in if you did the progressions. And I agree, and I think everyone agrees the flat bet is ultimately where you want to be, because you can't blow your bankroll with it. But talk to me about what you've seen in terms of how we have broken down the game via flat bet or progressions. How have you seen, or can you juxtapose those 2 ideologies, the flat bet versus the progression, based upon how we've broken down the game, and how do you see them in terms of the differences? In terms of making money, rather.
Right. Honestly, I think that, well, first, both ways, and every which way you were to look at roulette, the variables are exactly the same. With that being said, and that's a huge factor, because anywhere else you look, variables are inconsistent, or they're, so many you can't count. You have no idea what those variables could ever be, except in this game. So when I started, you put me on progressions first. I only recently have begun my flat bet trading. I don't call it gambling. I call it trading.
Right.
So as far as the progressions go, knowing that there's only so many variables, I went I think what day was it? My 6th day, I took a loss, and it was my fault. It had nothing to do with the strategy or the system that you told me to employ. After that, I went over 20-something days without another loss. And, you know, I just kept going. And then you came out with, I don't know if I want to say it. I don't know if I can say it, so I won't. But you came out with just a little twist. And even better. Right now I'm pushing at 98% wins, you know, which is great. And I'm practice or demo trading with flat bet currently.
Mm-hmm.
So the differences really are, you may, when you do have a loss with progressions, yeah, you may have a larger loss than if you were in flat bet, but your wins come, I think, faster. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think we all can agree with that.
Yeah. So it's more of an issue of time, is what you're saying?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that I'm going to be more comfortable with flat bets only because of the background that I came from.
Right.
Which was, you know, trading currency. So I'm really excited to continue with my flat bet. Still doing my progressions. You know, and I can see here. So,
man, this is awesome. Well, listen, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I got a couple questions I'm gonna go around and ask you guys. But number one, I just wanted to say this real quick. For those who are looking at this screen, I have liveroulette.ie up. This is and I'm talking to students and even non-students. If you're practicing, practice, guys. I can't even stress this enough. It's the reason why they say practice makes perfect. It's the reason why professional baseball players go to spring training. It's the reason why NFL these guys make millions of dollars, but guess what they're going to do throughout the season and prior to the season? Even though they're making millions, they're going to go and practice. These guys have been doing this all their life, and guess what they're doing? They're practicing. You know why they practice? Is so that they can understand the game even better. Their rudiments get better. They get tighter. They get faster, right? So that's the concept of practicing. And one of the things is that these three guys that you guys have just heard, they've done exactly that. They've done exactly what I've said, and all of them have a 100% positive index. What that means is over the for a couple over 30 days, but for the most part, 30 or more days, they've been able to produce daily a positive growth rate. Okay. You're not going to find positive growth rates in terms of economics anywhere, not for 30 days straight. Okay. You're going to bottom out somewhere in that 30 days. That's the whole concept of capitalism. To keep the party going in capitalism, you got to have losses. You got to have bankruptcies. You got to have blowouts. That's the reason why the banks continue to print the money, is because people continue to blow out. It's built into the system. So to create a percentage where your growth is at 100% over 30 days is pretty daggone spectacular. So I am really proud, all right? Beyond the money, as you guys know, I'm past the money. I mean, money's good. Don't get me wrong, but I'm past that. I think you guys know that. I know what this does. You guys are just doing nothing but proving it to me and proving it to the world that you really can change your life. You're gonna play a game anyway, people. This life it's a game. What do you know the variables that's gonna cause you to win in this game of life? Most people don't know those variables, so they go get jobs. And it takes away their life, even though they have at the end of that week, they have a couple bucks to pay their bills and repeat the same thing they did the previous week. That's most people's game, and they're losing at it because they're losing their life. Their time is gone. And one of the things that Stelio said when he first came on is that you just saved a decade of my time. Time is money, and when you can make positive growth rate with money without financial caps, meaning we could always increase. Sam is at 182 wins in 29 days. He could have increased every day and been up to 5,000 minimum. And he still would be a winner because the system does not change. The variables are what they are. But before I let you guys go, I'm going to go around the room real quick. And I want you to just tell me when you first started, when you first got started doing this, what was the scariest? Did you ever hit that point where you thought, you know what, I think, because people do this, I think I might have made a mistake. I think I'm not going to get this. This is just too beyond me. Or what was that moment that you thought you were in that strange place and maybe you may have made a mistake in coming aboard or something like that? And then what was it that clicked, if you even had that moment? I'll start with you, Sean. Did you have that moment when you first started where you said, oh, damn, what did I just do? I just gave these guys some money. What the hell I just do? And then how did that change, if so?
I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't have that feeling. And because I did not background checks, but I said, all right, just opened up a YouTube account, a couple of systems, and then disappeared. Plenty of people like that. I've been in a lot of scams because I've spent upwards of 15, 20 grand quote opportunities. And I do that because I was old trying to retire with retirement money, working all my life. So spending all this money, I said, okay, so it's $3,000. This guy says he's going to send me a contract. If he breaches this contract, I'm covered. Whatever the case is, I don't think he's going to disappear. I really didn't have that dread, which I have had in the past. But it wasn't with you, and I'm happy that it wasn't with you. No, man, I didn't have that feeling. And as far as understanding the concepts of what you taught me, I think it was day 3 when I called you and I said, it can't be this easy.
Yeah, I actually remember that.
The only time I was
yeah.
I was like, I gave this guy that much money, and he taught me this. It's this simple. But then I realized, well, what I paid for was time. Because if I tried doing this, it could have taken me years to get this out on my own. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Money well spent. Money well spent.
Man, brother, I thank you, man. Let's shoot over to Sam real quick. Did you ever have that moment to where you said, oh, damn, I might have screwed up here? And then what was that aha moment for you?
I'm like Sean. There was never a doubt. You know, I mean, I knew just from the stuff that you give away on YouTube that you had figured this out. You had what I was looking for. And when you first sent me the flat bet system, just the first few videos, I didn't have any doubts about it. I just felt really dumb that I'd missed it. You just totally was that obvious. I just totally missed it, you know, and I just felt really stupid. I'm like, man, I'm dumb. How did I miss that? You know, and I think I even called you one time, and you're like, man, what's up? I'm like, I'm kind of sitting here feeling dumb. You know, but no, there was never any question that it was going to work, and you had figured it out, and just like Sean and Acilio, you saved me a ton of time. I mean, I'd spent months trying to figure out what you was able to show me in 10 minutes, and I still didn't figure it out. You know, that was 4 years ago. I don't know how many years I would have spent trying to figure it out, and it's so obvious it'll slap you in the face, but you don't look at it, just like you say, people don't look at it that way. They look at it like it's a game. So they're never going to see it. You just, the banks depend on you not to see it. You know, that's the way it's marketed to you, and that's how it works. But no, I never had a doubt it was going to work. I never had that moment where I practiced or sat down at a table and said, oh my God, what have I got into? This may not work. There was never, I never had a doubt.
Oh, damn. Jesus, you guys are okay. What about you, Estelio?
Like, this interview is sponsored by Kleenex. No, but I mean, in terms of me, honest, I mean, I think before I hounded you just to make sure that my only paranoia with it was that I was going to run out of time with the outside factors of my life. I was just like, man, this is it. Stay out of your way. And I was thinking, you know, all your interviews, you're like, yeah, we're getting ready to shut this down. I was like, yo, not this week, right? Not this week, right? I just need, man, because I when I tell y'all I had nothing. Like, I was on my last, like, I was hustling and grinding just to have $1. Just because of circumstances in my life, people, family situations. Like, everyone's always kind of leaned on me to be the problem solver for everybody. So I'm overextending myself, and then I came across this, and I was like, oh man, like, this dude gets it. He's only getting like so many people. Oh man, hey, can I put my name in? I'm waiting for a table, man. I got the money. I got a check in the savings. What happened was, I was running around, and he kept telling me, he's like, dude, it's okay, you got time. And I was like, nah, don't tell me that, because then I'm gonna come up with it. I'm gonna finally have it, and you can be like, sorry, we just closed like an hour ago. That was my biggest thing, was just like, my paranoia was with my circumstances. Like, yo, like, this can't be the time that everyone you helped became the biggest obstacle for you when you're so close to it. And then once I got the information, I was like, man, I was really close to this. But I think bigger than anything was having someone that I could talk to that understood my mind and could kind of teach me how to control my thoughts to where they didn't get in my own way. Mm-hmm. Like, I think all of my paranoia was, this is the one time you're actually getting the benefit of the doubt. Don't mess it up. Mm-hmm. I think that's where it was. It was completely on myself. It was like, yo, this is the chance you've been asking for. Like, put me in the game, coach. Put me in the game. I've been doing my free throws every day, and then you get one free throw, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, just like, don't get sweaty palms right now. Don't, what I'm saying? Make sure you got the right uniform on. Don't go out there and have to get kicked out of the game.
Right.
But and the external stuff, was happening even as I was having success. That doesn't go away. I think that's something that people need to understand too. Is like, you get this opportunity to make as much money as you want. But I heard this dude say one time, he's like, needs can always be met, greed can never be satisfied.
Say that again.
Is needs can always be met, but greed will never be satisfied.
Wow.
And the biggest need for me is time. And the fact that was always your focal point in the videos, I said, this guy understands what I understand. And I need him to help me understand it even better. Because he's been doing it for a while. Everything I went through, he's already been through. And I've never had that in my situation. I've always kind of had to just take the lead and just figure it out as I go. And I was like, man, if I could just have, and with the fact that you had the mentorship program, like because I was watching your older videos and I saw the programs and stuff, and I was looking at the programs. Mm-hmm. But then I happened to come along right at the right time. And you were like, oh, we got a mentorship program. And I was like, I've been looking for a mentor my whole life. And I've had to be the student and the teacher for myself. And I was like, yo. And so when you gave me the benefit of the doubt, I was like, man, we earning this. Like, just don't get in your own way. But in terms of the system, man, same as these guys. I was kind of kicking myself. I was like, man, I was so close. I was on it. Yeah. But even in that studying, like, the time that it took to do that and get to the point even where I was, it's hard to know you're on the right track. Because you get there and then you get the one example where it doesn't work and you're like, oh, nope, this is complete shit. Throw it out the window. And you came along and basically showed me, like, nah, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, there's plenty of good stuff here. You don't have to be right 100% of the time. There's no 100%. But if you can do it 97% and be okay with the 3 or less, it's actually been a lot less in terms of the success we've had. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, I can learn to be okay with that. And it's helped across the board. I feel like this, if people just get involved with this and see it for what it actually is and stop playing and just, that roller coaster. And actually, I want to give a shout out to Sam real quick, because the interview that y'all did, I remember I called you the day after y'all posted that interview. And I was like, man, I need to shake that man's hand because, like, after that interview, Sam said something on there, and I was just like, you know what? That's what I was missing. And as successful as I was, I think the thing is that you understand that that's where the team concept comes in. It's like, even though we're all doing our own thing, we can all learn something from each other.
Right.
Even as deep into it, because even at 97%, there's no such thing as 100, but you can strive for 99. You know, you don't need it, but it's like if you have three people looking at the same thing in the same way, you know, it's a think tank, basically. You're like, oh, wait, man, we never saw it like that. And it was the simplest thing. You know, and I know Sam doesn't feel like the smartest stuff, but I was like, yo, as well as I've been doing, it was something that he said in the video that set off the spark in my head when I called you the next day, and I was like, yo, I got it. And it was because of you and Sam. And I was on the verge for what, like 4 weeks before that? 3 weeks before that?
Yeah.
Like since I met you at your place, and I was like, and you was just like, you're almost there. I'm not going to tell you what it is, though. Sam wound up telling me what it was. And I was like, oh. You know, the combination of my experience with that one little nugget that Sam put out there, I was like, oh, you bastard. That's what it was.
Hey, man, you know the reason.
I had an epiphany.
Say again, bro?
I just wanted to say, I had an epiphany during an interview with Sam that you did. But then just today on this call, I had another epiphany with you and Celia. So I just want to say, even right now, I just picked up a golden nugget.
Man, we're all out here. We are all out here, man.
Hey, man, this is the reason why I do this, man. I told you guys it's bigger than the money because it's a purpose. And like I can only look at it as purpose because of what it's doing in the lives of people. And I used to always say, you know, I've had all these businesses. I've done a lot of things that were pretty extraordinary, but nothing has been more life-changing than this. I could be the best fast burger joint or the best car dealership or whatever, but it still doesn't change people's lives. And just listening to you guys talk and seeing how you're feeding off of each other and the team, you know, ideology that we're fostering here, man, I'm gonna tell you guys, there's just nothing more gratifying for me. And you could have paid me $100,000 and I would have been very happy, but but the gratification is in the fact that you're doing something that probably is history breaking. What you guys, I've never heard of in the money market of the results that we're seeing with money. And it's only a testament. Yeah, the strategy's good, blah, blah, but it means nothing unless you guys are willing to put in the practice, put in the work, think about what you're doing, and just being there when I need you for an interview, because the thing is that you really are helping a lot of people. And I'm not suggesting everybody has your aptitude or your you know, your wits and your brilliance. But there are people who are just smart enough to hear it and get it, and then it changes their lives, and then they could go and then do things and redeem more time in their lives. So let me first off say thank you guys again for, you know, you guys. I know you guys thank me, but you guys give me purpose. You know what I mean? And you help me help others. So I appreciate you guys for that. Kudos to you all. Last thing, man, any last 30 seconds each. I'm gonna go around the room real quick. Sam, your last 30 seconds, whatever you want to say, bro.
Yeah, man, I want to add to what you said for sure. I'm kind of amazed at listening. Here there's four of us all together on the phone that's worked all of our life for money. And at this point, within 30 days of being in this program, none of us care about the money anymore. Money means nothing to us. We know the money's going to be there. The money's coming. It means nothing. Everything now is all about saving yourself time. And we're all in the same boat. That's kind of amazing to me that you work all your life for money, and now money doesn't even matter within 30 days of this program. It just doesn't matter to any of us.
Yep.
You know, everything now is about quality of life and time.
And time. Good words, brother. Estilio.
Man, everything that he just said. And I think I remember we talked. I was just like, you know, you talking about all the money that we can make and all this, and I think I was worried that you misinterpret me that I don't care about it. Like I know it's gonna help, but I'm just like, hey, so when can I sleep in? Like that's the thing for me, and it really comes down to time and that opportunity. But I mean, honestly, just if outside of the money, when you come into this, if you decide to come into it, it's going to change your life in the way that you look at yourself and everything around you and the way you deal with the world around you. And it's really going to expose what kind of heart you have. It's kind of like, you know, taking that real good look in the mirror, because it's literally just you, yourself, and, you know, a little round ball and 37 squares. Like there's nothing between you guys. It's just you're going to find out what kind of patience you have. You're going to find out what kind of ego you have. And you got to be ready to look at it and see it for what it is. And if you can do that, that's the part that changes your life, is actually taking that time to look at yourself and how you play the game of life, you know, let alone roulette.
Wow.
And I think that's been the most invaluable thing about it. You know, you got people spending thousands of dollars on therapy, and it's just like, yo, just sit down with yourself and at a casino at a roulette table and see what you learn.
Right.
Like it's really crazy.
It's like sitting. It's like you're at a mirror. You're at a crossroads. You have to see yourself. You're gonna find out a lot about yourself. That's so true.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah, man. So obviously, with the others, when I first started was about getting my life back, putting in 70 hours a week of work. But there's no way to live. All you're doing is existing. And it definitely gives us the opportunity to live instead of exist. With that said, you know, most people are afraid of just being with themselves and thinking in their own heads. They've got a cell phone in their hand on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever. And they don't take the time to sit there and focus. I think that's also why we have a big patience issue, not just with, you know, guys who want to do this, but I mean in anything in life. And if you do take the time to be patient, focus, no matter what you do, it doesn't even have to be this. You'll always have a better outcome if you take the time to think things over, take a breath, relax, and you'll be just fine.
Jesus, man, you guys are all inspirational speakers. I'm gonna buy tickets to you all, your show. This is awesome, man. Hey guys, for real, thank you guys, man, for your time and for doing this.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it, bro. Appreciate you all, man. Just know I appreciate you guys, and again, man, this is all real stuff, guys. You know, I keep saying that I'm going to shut it down, and I am, because I have to. You know, so, you know, because I'm almost done, and we got another interview with Estilio coming up, a separate interview, and we're going to be talking about something new that we're going to be doing that you guys could all benefit from. But for those who still have the zest to be where these guys are, even if you're a student, you can start over and do the right things. And but you're going to have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, I won't be consistent. If you're not consistent with me, I'm going to say it again, I will not be consistent with you. I will only deal with people who are consistent. That's it. So if you notice where your communication with me is really slow, it's probably because you're not practicing every day. I only deal with people who are serious. You know, so it's not even about, you know, I'm looking for that private group. Like these three, you know, maybe a couple of my other students will become the bottom out the group that I'm really looking for. But if you think you're one, you want to be a part of this, we still have room, but we are closing this soon. I'm just letting you know, it has to happen. So, but if you do want to be a part of it, just know that it's good people that are doing extraordinary things, and you'll be a part of the entire family as other people are. So thank you guys again so much for your time, and I think this is just really going to do a lot to help a lot of people, a lot of the students particularly. Because if you're picking up nuggets, and I know the nuggets you guys are picking up because you know what to pick up because I'm sitting there writing stuff down while you're talking. So this is really good. But anyway, we may do another roundtable discussion like this in the future, just to see where we, kind of like a where are they now type of situation. But the next video we're going to be doing, I'm going to be talking to Estelio specifically because I got something that we're going to be probably launching pretty soon. It's not going to be anything that's happening immediately. It's just something that that we're thinking about. But it's, it's nothing like mentorship. I could tell you that. But it beats definitely something for those who don't want to do a lot of thinking. It's just going to cost you more over time. But it could definitely be a safer way for you to be able to make some money. It's just that you just won't have any knowledge. And if the moment we don't do it or don't participate in it, you'll just be out of luck at that point, which is why having knowledge is really important. Unfortunately, I do have to shut the program down because we do want this around for our children and their children. So, was one of the reasons why I'm not going to continue to deliver this information, because it is really that powerful. And the thing is, we have receipts, by the way, folks. It's not something that these guys are just talking about. Like, I have receipts for everything that they're saying. I have, like, I see their money. I see that they are doing it. They show me this. And I have it on my phone, okay? So this is not a joke. It's not a fluke. And if anyone wanted to see it, you could see it. But this is real, and it's real life-changing. It's been real life-changing for me because it's afforded me to live the life that I'm living. But it's been bigger than what I thought. The bigger part of living life now for me is it's even beyond time, Sam. It's now seeing that I'm making an impact in a way that a product or service on the market just never would have been able to do. And that's something I couldn't have asked God for anything more than that. Like to give me something like this where I could have the kind of life I have and change people's lives in a way that mine's being changed. There's no product in the world that I could sell that could do that but this. So again, thank you all for your time, man. Thank you all for your diligence. To the next time, folks, take care. Oh, by the way, email me if you need to, permutationspro@gmail.com. If you want to call, as Estelio said, I do pick up the phone. There is no some type of operator, or you're not going to get a bunch of spam after that. If you email me, I can guarantee you chances are good that I'm going to probably be a day or so late getting to you. And if you say some craziness on the email, you will not get a response at all. If you're really serious about things, and if I don't respond to you, send me another email. But also, if you do consider joining in, there is a small window here, and it's going to be closing soon. But if you are thinking about joining in, please know that I'm not playing around with you. That if you're a lazy person, if you're impatient, you have discipline, and all those things, listen, it's not worth the time or the money for me. It is not. So just continue to do what you're doing. If you want a strategy, all the strategies that I have, if you want any of those, you can do that. But for the mentorship program, this is about really changing your life and being consistent. That's really the biggest thing. It's not the strategy. It's really you. And that's the reason why I say, if you're not serious about it, just don't waste your time here, because it's life-changing. And I don't have time, or neither, and Sam and all the guys who have helped me with others, who I'll send to, certain guys I'll send to you guys, and you guys see what I be talking about. Some of these guys just don't want to listen sometimes. So we don't have time for that. So it's like, if you're serious, we're very serious, because we're seeing the results. We don't have anything to hide, but we don't have time to deal with people who are not going to be diligent. So if you're going to be faithful, if you're going to be committed, good. But if not, continue to do what you're doing until you're ready to be committed. It's just like marriage. And like, if you really want to be a millionaire, if you want to be successful in this world, you've got to commit, period. You've got to be consistent in your commitment. And I don't know what more anything financially you're going to do that's going to provide more consistent growth economically than this. And I don't care what it is in the world. I don't care what it is. It doesn't have the rate that we have right now. And I don't suspect that we're going to change, because in 30, 40 days, some of us more than 60, we're seeing 97%. So, or better. So that's not going to change if it hadn't happened in 2 months. So with that said, guys, give me a call, shoot me an email. Sam, Estilio, and Sean, continue to do what you guys are doing. We're just going to continue to go to the top. Of course, in the mentorship program, we're going to be talking about the more internal team play stuff. So that's also coming next, but that's also on the inside. Like I said, I got another interview coming up with Estilio talking about some stuff that we can do for those who are in the market who maybe need a lot more help than others. And so we may be introducing that real soon. So stay tuned. Again, guys, thank you guys so much. Until the next time, take